Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am Dungeon Master Andrew of Natural 40 Games. I am here today to talk about my thoughts about the new core rulebooks that have dropped for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. In a word, I've loved them so far. I have been running 5 campaigns that have been using the new books as soon as they dropped. And so all the way back in September is when the Player's Handbook dropped, and at the time, I immediately said to all 5 of these campaigns, anyone who wishes to use these options may do so. About half of the players immediately jumped on them. Some of them have stayed with 2024 or 2014 options. Some of them that stayed initially have since tried out the 2024 options. I'm at just over half of my players right now using the base classes from the 2024 Player's Handbook. A vast amount of the magical items, changes that happened in the Dungeon Master's Guides, I have implemented into campaigns, as well as and I'm really looking forward to the new Monster Manual dropping. So, I have run over 100 sessions of D&D 5th edition with these new options on the table, and I just wanted to have a quick little chat about the situations that have arisen from that. So, first things first, it all just works. There has not been any game crashes that have ground things to a halt. Lookups happen. Being able to verify what a new spell or a new feat does happens at the table, it's no problem. I have allowed my players to freely choose the 2024 spells or the 2014 spells. And I chose that because I believe that without the 2014 version of Counterspell, I would have a far too many total party kills with powerful spellcasting enemies. I want to actually give them a chance to stop that 9th level spell from coming from that Lich. And if they can't do that, then it's going to be too much of a problem. So, I've balanced my gameplay around that. The only thing that actually tripped me up about the new options, and this is like a super narrow niche thing, was the Pact of the Chains Warlock Pseudo-Dragon Familiar. Its sting ability is no longer an attack. It's something that forces a saving throw. So I had thought that the Chain Master invocation wouldn't let it do that because it's an attack. And it's a hostile action, certainly, but it doesn't call for an attack roll, so it's not an attack. So that was just one little thing that was like, huh. And then the other thing is, there is a lot of the core rules of the system from 2014 that I'm still using because I prefer them. The 2024 rules for exhaustion and surprise. I have tried them. I gave them a really good try when I have been implementing the things across my games, and I firmly believe that the 2014 surprise rules are superior, so I'm going to keep using them. And the 2014 exhaustion rules are superior as well. Exhaustion doesn't come up a whole ton in my games. I've only ever had people go to about three levels, give or take, except when the Deck of Many Things comes into play, which is always all bets are off. Oh, the new version of the Deck of Many Things in the Dungeon Master's Guide for 2024. I love what they've done with it. I'm a huge fan of the deck. I put it in every campaign. So, when we are looking at these 2024 options, I firmly believe that all of the base classes in the 2024 Player's Handbook are improved over the 2014 ones, except for Paladins. Paladins got nerfed. The Divine Smite as a bonus action and a spell nerf has been felt very hardly. I have seen the light leave a player's eyes when they get an attack of opportunity natural 20 and cannot smite. Or because they've already threw up their bonus action to cast Divine Favor or use Lay on Hands or some such. There's things that work well in the new Paladin kit, but the huge nerf to Divine Smite is is bad and has felt bad. So I honestly anticipate seeing a lot of 2014 paladins into the future. The weapon mastery systems that got added on are phenomenal for all of the martials. A lot of the spells that have been worked and changed have been great. Seeing healing spells, your basic cure wounds and healing word, go to double the amount of dice has been amazing. It's actually made healing feel worthwhile for quite a bit. Now, quick note on paladins again. The paladin players I have at the table are still very much enjoying the game and enjoying it. I've got a few of them that never really played the old paladin before, so they don't really know what it was like before. But then I've got my Vecna game, where the party is currently level 19, and we have a Paladin Oath of the Ancients in that campaign that has... We have a bucket of d8s on the table for when he crits. A literal bucket. I have the bucket right up there on my shelf. That's my home game that happens right here in the basement. And it has been phenomenal. So, what does it take to make the new options work? Just use them. Let players build their characters how they wish with the options that they wish. That's all it takes. If you are a brand new DM that is just getting into it, absolutely say, hey, let's just use the new stuff because that's the only book I have. When I first started, that's how I limited the scope of my game player options. I'm like, I have the player's handbook. We're going to use just this, okay? And that worked out fine when I was getting started, and I just kept buying more books and getting more comfortable doing more and more and more. And not before long, I had Monsters of the Multiverse, Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, Xanathar's Guide, a whole bunch of the campaign books with different options built into them, and most of my games right now just have carte blanche. Use whatever published options you would like, and the games work fantastic. I'm currently, like I said, I am running 5 campaigns right now with the 2024 options on the table. I am running 1 campaign still that is strictly 2014 options, and that is my hardcore Tomb of Annihilation campaign, which you've been able to watch along with on this channel, where we are strictly doing 2014 Player's Handbook only with 3d6 rolled stats and rolled races and backgrounds. I really wanted to try that style of game for a while. That campaign has reached its final chapter. I don't know how much longer it's going to go, but it has been a wild ride. So, the new 2024 core books, they are not a new edition of Dungeons & Dragons. They are a wonderful addition on top of what has been an amazing game since 2014 when it first came out. I will continue running as many games as I can for as long as possible because I enjoy this game so very much. And when I sit down at the table and I am able to share my love of the game with my players by running amazing scenarios, dungeons, quests, and worlds, it just makes everything so wonderful. And did players overall get more powerful with these new options? Everyone except paladins, yes. And with that, have I changed anything behind the screen? Not yet. No. Not anything that I wasn't already changing, because I'm constantly tinkering with encounters as I go. If the party absolutely blasts through one encounter at the front door of the dungeon, and the next challenge is going to be, 3 more goblins, maybe I'm like, no, that's not going to do it. Those are going to be 3 more goblin veterans now, or throw in some bugbears, or whatever else. Always, add more monsters, honestly, is the advice for challenging players when you want better combats. Because when you add more monsters, there's more moving pieces on the table, you can match them more closely on action economy, and it just turns out amazing. That's a piece of advice I got from Sly Flourish, the Lazy Dungeon Master. I've watched a lot of his content, haven't read his books, but it's good stuff overall, I think. So, when it comes to the 2024 monster manual. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what's in there. I've heard good things so far. I've already booked a one shot that I've called the Monster Manual Mash, where I'm just going to pull some of the biggest, baddest things out of that and put them in front of the players and see who dies, whether it's the monsters or the players. And we're going to have a really good time with it. And just like I've had a really good time with all of these books since they've dropped. So yeah, the new version, it's not a new version. It's new options for 5th edition. And all you have to do to use them is to allow your players to use them. And you as a DM can use them too. You can add weapon masteries to any enemies you like. Oh, I made a dragon creature where she was like a centaur, but the bottom half was dragon, and I gave her the weapon mastery for greatsword. So even on a miss, she was dealing 7 damage with graze with her +7 strength modifier. Like, that's more tools for you to use too as a dungeon master. And that's just the essence of it. It's more tools, more options. Nothing has been taken away from the game with these new books. The things that weren't printed again haven't been taken away from you. You can still play half-elf, you can still play half-orc, you can still play all the old 2014 classes and subclasses that have not been reprinted. You just do it. The options are still there. If you are sitting at a table with restrictions that you can find acceptable for your gameplay experience, then all the power to you. If someone says only 24 player handbook, that's something that a DM can do at a table. I'm doing one right now that's 2014 players handbook only, with no additional books, except for the campaign book. And when you're upfront with people about what the experience is going to be, that's okay too. But honestly, I don't think there's a reason to limit people. As long as you have access to the books, and I do believe having the physical book on hand is preferable to any sort of online access, because no one can ever take this away or change it on you. Once you own it, it's yours. It's yours to keep and do with whatever you like with it. And what I like doing is running games with these amazing books. So, how do you implement the new rules? Just do it. If you want to use the 2014 surprise and exhaustion rules, you can go right ahead and use them. You can even say, if you're a 2014 base class, you're using the 2014 exhaustion, or if you're a 2024, you're using the 2024 exhaustion. Every player always comes to the table with different options written down on their character sheet, so it's not an issue to actually have different options in play. You, the DM, are there adjudicating the game, and this is a game that is well done, well researched, and well written. And it's popular for good reasons. And yeah, that's my piece about the new 2024 core books for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. This is Dungeon Master Andrew saying, does anybody speak giant?